Let's get more specific now. How to actually cut the debt? You heard a few suggestions there, but I wanted to get into the granularities. Right now, quickly as possible, how do you do it? There is a group with a pretty straightforward name. It's called Fix the Debt. It has some big ideas. First up, it's not going to be easy, not going to be clean, but they say it has to be done. Today I spoke with Mark Goldwein. He's Senior Vice President at the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget. We started out a little broad, then got into the weeds, the specifics. I kind of had the same questions you probably do. How can we get this done? What are some concrete steps to take right now or the next fiscal year that could reduce the deficit and the debt?
Well, I think the first step is we need to stop making things worse. Right now there's discussion of a budget deal that could be adding as much as $100 or $200 billion a year to the deficit. When you consider that we already have debt higher than any time since World War II, that's exactly the wrong direction. So step one is, if we're going to increase spending, that's okay, but we need to find spending cuts elsewhere or new tax revenue to pay for it. Step two is we need to get handle on the entitlement programs. The two largest and two of the fastest growing government programs are Social Security and Medicare. Yeah. They are both headed towards insolvency in their own rights, and they're both contributing to the debt along the way.
So if I understand it, stop something like the tax reform that just happened that could add over a 10-year period $1.5 trillion to the debt, but then you say entitlement reform has to be issue number one.
Well, I think entitlement reform is the most important for the long term. I'd also say, in addition to paying for new things, we just made the problem $1.5 trillion worse. We need to go back and repay for that. So we're going to need new tax revenue. We could start by closing some of the new loopholes that are probably going to be created by this bill. Maybe pulling back some of the tax cuts that are too deep. And we're going to need spending cuts. We obviously, a lot of these have already been done. A lot of these have already been on a lot of low-hanging fruit, but we can still look to farm subsidies, to federal retirement programs. I think there are some modest changes you can make to some of the low-income programs to make sure that we're giving money to people that are supposed to be getting it in a way that's encouraging work.
Who's more likely to buy in? Because whoever's in power spends money. And do you think you're going to get Republicans or Democrats or both to get on with this idea?
Republicans want to cut taxes. Democrats want to increase spending. Republicans seem to want to join them in some of the spending increases. And frankly, Democrats seem to want to join Republicans in some tax cuts. So these parties are actually going backwards. And that's why I say the first step is we have to stop digging. We're kind of getting addicted to debt. You know, each new legislation we say, we just need to add this to the credit card and then we'll start spending responsibly. Well, guess what? We're running out of time to keep spending responsibly. I think something people don't realize about the tax cuts that just passed, there's a lot of talk about the distribution from rich to poor, from different states, but the biggest redistribution from those tax cuts was actually from young to old. The baby boomers got a huge tax cut, and ultimately, because debt is unsustainable, we're going to pay that back. Baby boomers aren't going to pay it back. We're not going to cut Social Security for existing beneficiaries. It's going to be younger generations, millennials, the unborn. They really are the ones that are going to basically face a big tax increase to pay for today's tax cuts.